The Simpsons is the best show ever made. If someone would ever say this sentence, I would not argue. Cause I really do believe that this is the best show ever made. It's filled with extremely unforgettable and iconic characters, beautiful and cute animation, flawless soundtrack, and life lessons that will forever stick with me till the end of time. This is the best show ever made. Well, it's either this or SpongeBob. Anyways, let's get to the main topic of the video. If someone would ever ask me, what is your most favorite Simpsons episode? Well, I haven't decided yet cause there's just so much episodes, dude. And you should know that I haven't watched every single one of them. But I am willing to. Now, if someone would ever ask me this question, what is the title of the Simpsons episode that you as an audience can relate to? Weird question, I know. But my answer would be The Simpsons Season 2, Episode 1. Bart Gets an F. This episode is all about Bart having a hard time in school. His grades are getting low, he's been failing lots of tests, he failed to do his book report, but despite this, he keeps struggling. He keeps struggling because he knows that if he fails, he will be held back in the 4th grade. He actually pretended to be sick so that he could get out of school, and not take the test that he wasn't ready for. And he somehow succeeded.
Everyone knows you're faking it, Bart. Well, everyone better keep their mouth.
He called Milhouse for answers, took the test, but he failed miserably. Later they called his parents and they talked about why it's best for Bart to
repeat the 4th grade.
What? You can't hold me back.
He asked Martin for help, but for whatever reason Martin has completely changed. Due to the fact that Martin, a nerd, hung out with some bad boys. Bart ended up praying to God, and God actually answered his prayer. The next day, schools and businesses got cancelled due to Bart's prayer. Now we get to the scene that made me really proud of Bart. He's about to have fun like everyone else, but since he prayed to God, he owes God big time. He gives Lisa his goggles, and he went upstairs. He looked outside to witness all the fun, cause he needs to remind himself that he must make a sacrifice to be able to pass the 4th grade. He went to the basement, started studying hard, started slapping himself, and then the next day, he finally took the test. However, he still failed. He breaks down crying, and by God, he demonstrated applied knowledge. He barely passed the test and euphorically runs outside. The episode ends in the most perfect way possible. The episode ends with Bart saying,
A part of this D- belongs to God.
Come on, that is what you call perfect writing. Here are 10 reasons why I relate to this goddamn episode so much. Number 1. Faking a book report. I remember back in the day, book reports or reports in general were always the ones that frustrated me the most. And I know I'm not the only one. My teacher once gave me a topic to report, a topic that I will never be able to get on with. And that is history. What happened to Bart is exactly what happened to me. Number 2. Procrastinating. I remember back in the day, I used to be so addicted to playing video games. I mean, look at this one, Ratatouille, Sega Rally, Ben 10 Alien Force, Scribblenauts, New Super Mario Bros., Sonic Colors, Scooby-Doo First Frights, and so on and so on. I used to play fantastic games back then. Right now, I still play fantastic games.
What was that?
What?
What was that?
Nothing.
Ah! Asshole! Everybody! Assholes!
Anyway, my point is, back then, I was playing video games non-stop. And at the same time, I used to have a hard time in school. Learning history in school has always been a useless topic to me. I'm talking about me in high school. What is the point of learning history again? I already learned enough history in grade school. My future career involves drawing, not history. Whenever I'm about to have a test in history, I always play games before I study. Or in other words, I always procrastinate. And the reason why is because I'm simply not interested. I used to say right after I all the freaking time. But hey, I'm not that person anymore. Number 3, fear of failure. I remember back in the day, I used to have failing a testophobia. Well, actually it's called adicophobia, which simply means fear of failing. According to my research, you might have adicophobia if you're a perfectionist. I distinctly remember back then I used to be a perfectionist all the time. A perfectionist is what I believe to be a very self-explanatory word. I used to be so obsessed with doing things perfectly. Right now, I don't think so anymore because I now know that nobody is perfect. Nobody can be perfect. No one will ever be perfect. No one's perfect, dude, okay? So shut the hell up. Number 4. Pretending to be sick. I remember back in the day, my Filipino teacher assigned me and a lot of my classmates to be part of a play. And I kept telling him, I don't want to. Can I just do the props? No. And I think you know what happens next? I pretended to be sick. Instead of something desperate like a stomach pain, I just told my teacher my head hurts after hitting a wall by complete accident. And that really happened. I really did hit a wall by complete accident. With my head. And that is how I ended up in summer class. And almost got held back. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to be held back in 7th grade. But I can actually get promoted to grade 8 if I go to another school. And that is exactly what I did. And to tell you guys the truth, it was the best thing that has ever happened to me. Just look at this schedule, dude. Number 5. Asking for answers. I remember back in the day, I used to be so desperate for answers. And I know I'm not the only one. I mean, imagine taking a test that you are not prepared for, and probably will never ever be prepared for, and your grades are going low as ever. What do you do? If I were you, I will definitely do what Bart did. I know it's cheating, I know cheating is wrong, but hey, I did that so many years ago. I'm not that type of person anymore, don't worry. Number 6. Fear of getting held back. I remember back in the day, I used to fantasize the same thing Bart fantasized. When my grades were getting low, I was afraid that I would get held back. The next thing that happened, my brain motivated me to do better by showing me an exaggerated possibility of me as an adult still being in school. I gotta admit, thanks to that fantasy, I did so much better. Number 7. Change of personality. When Martin, a nerd, hung out with a couple of kids like Bart, Milhouse and company, Martin's personality completely changed. And that is just so goddamn relatable. I remember back in the day, I was working so hard in school. I was a hard-working kid. I used to be a nerd. But after hanging out with quote-unquote bad boys, my nerdy personality completely changed. One time, I actually went too far. I slapped a girl's ass with a handkerchief. I'm not kidding. Thanks to that, I got into the biggest trouble ever. My teacher and classmates called my parents and told them everything. Thanks to that, my personality changed once again. And that is the story of how I got from being a nerd, to being a bully, to being an introvert. Number 8. Praying to God. I remember back in the day, when my grades are failing so much and I kept on failing even if I tried, I ended up praying to God. I don't think I need to explain anymore. Number 9. Self-disciplining. I remember back in the day, I could not help myself from playing video games and watching movies. I ended up slapping myself. Please tell my therapist I'm not the only one who does this. And number 10. Euphoria after miraculously passing. I remember back in the day, I used to be the happiest person on earth after knowing my grades were actually good enough. I mean, who wouldn't be so goddamn happy after knowing your grades are good enough to promote you? That is what I call a miraculous moment. No, I never kissed my teacher. As a matter of fact, my teacher kissed me. And there you go. I gave you 10 reasons, and I said this phrase 10 times. Now that is what I call perfect writing. In all honesty, I have never ever seen an episode from a TV show that has a massive amount of relatability, like Bart Gets an F. From start to finish, this episode contains so many scenes and elements that I can relate to so damn much. That scene where Bart cries when he failed a test even though that he tried so hard to study, even though that he did his best, that gets me every time. So in conclusion, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, and 6 being average, I'm giving this episode
a 9.
Easily one of my all-time favorite Simpsons episodes.
What have we learned today?
Cheating is never the way.
What else have we learned today?
I think the other lesson of this episode is, you should always have faith in God. Never ever doubt Him, because no matter what, He will always answer your prayers in mysterious ways. Because you know what they say, God works in mysterious ways. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I really do hope you learned something today. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, It would really mean a lot. You guys are the best. See you next time.